Damn. What's up, Chris Rood? Introduce yourself to the Roughneck Real Estate folks.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on. My name's Chris Rood. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana. I'm 39. Got a portfolio of around $20 million. We do a ton of wholesaling and flipping in 4 states, own a bunch of mobile home parks, small apartment complexes, a lot of short-term vacation rentals on the beach, and got a few single-family homes left that I'm trying to get rid of just so I can do more multifamily and mobile home parks. And that's kind of what I do. I own a few other businesses outside of real estate that I operate. Had a pretty big oil change, mechanic shop, and car wash franchise from where I'm from in Lafayette. I sold off most of them. I still have one of them. So just been a serial entrepreneur pretty much my whole life and a real estate investor since I was about 25.
How old are you, Chris?
39.
39. I'm 35. How long you been in this?
Real estate?
Yes, sir.
Since I was 25.
Dude, that's
Entrepreneurship,
awesome.
I started my first business when I was 22.
Dude, that's awesome. So I've been following your stuff on the internet. Skillathon is a program that y'all do. I don't know much about it. Tell the people a little bit about that while we wait for more people to jump on.
Yep. So, Skillathon's a once a year real estate, entrepreneurial, personal development, marketing, business conference that I put on. It's a pretty big conference. It's not just real estate. Then I do a mastermind here at my beach house in Destin twice a year, which I canceled. It was supposed to be next week, but I obviously canceled everything going on. Then I have a coaching company where I teach people how to wholesale, flip, and wholesale, and how to get into the mobile home park space of affordable housing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we were talking before we went live. I mean, we don't really know a lot about each other's business. Your financing on your mobile home park and stuff like that. Do you utilize a fund, private investments, banks? How does that work?
So I use small local community banks that I develop relationships with. They don't give me the best rates as, say, like a national bank that can probably do a 30-year at 4.5%. I'm buying these parks at usually 20-year or 50. The one I bought one 3 weeks ago in Gonzales, Louisiana, for $2.2 million, a 40 unit. It was on, I bought it at 15-year AM, 6% interest. So the terms weren't that great. I had to put 20% down, $440,000. But what I usually do is buy them, and then I'll stabilize them, and then I'll refinance with Wall Street money using a bigger bank with better terms.
Well, that's kind of the same model we're in. But we take on a private money interest only loan at the beginning, stabilize them, then go to a community bank. We don't have that last piece in place with the Wall Street money, at least not on mobile home parks. We do have it on the small apartment complexes. We're kind of like the coronavirus, me and you. You're Italy. I'm the USA right now. We're just 10 days behind you, So
yep.
We've been in this 5 years. A lot of people understand our business, but getting to talk to a big guy like you at a spur of the moment like this, right after the president announces no evictions, I don't think we've ever been through anything like this on a national scale. I'm sure you're diversified across a lot of states, a lot of miles in between your portfolio, and never thought we would have a day that the national government or the federal government's going to make it hard to run a business like this. So what are some of the things that over the last couple of weeks, I mean, I know us in our business, we've been like, man, we don't know whether we need to email our tenants right now and reach out and say, hey, here's what we see happening. Here's some things we want to do to help you, versus, because we're D-class tenants. So, they're good people. They work. I don't know any of our tenants that have been affected by this at all, because we're Gonzales, Louisiana. I mean, I'm sure what's the population of Gonzales, Louisiana?
Oh, it's probably a couple 100,000. That park is a nice park. It's an A- B+ park.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
See,
average income is about 62,000 in that area.
Dude, that's amazing, because we don't have anything like that. We're out in rural America, and farmers are still farming. Cattle prices, oil prices, everything's down, but everybody's still going to work. So I don't know anybody that's been affected in any of our 300 units. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. So we've been wanting to extend this olive branch and say this, but we've been worried the whole time that it would set a time bomb off that would say, oh, well, I don't have to pay rent next month, which would then lead to us needing to, you know what I mean? It's like we got to dip into cash reserves. We got to utilize credit lines, all these different scenarios playing out. And it's like last week, probably we started reaching out to our investors, our lenders, our private money people and saying, hey, this is what we see taking place. Here's how we're in this together. What do you want to do? So we started those conversations probably last week. I don't know if y'all what y'all have done in that time period. What some of the things you've been doing, kind of stress testing and different things in your own portfolio to try to soften the blow if something like this did happen.
Well, the biggest advantage you have in business and your biggest asset as a business owner is prediction, right? Being able to predict outcomes. And hell, I can't predict right now because I've never been through this, and neither has anybody else that's going to watch this. So we're in uncharted territories that you can't even imagine. So I don't know what I don't know, right?
Right.
So I can't. I don't want to sit there and give advice on something I don't know and pretend I'm some type of wizard, because I'm not. Because if I was a wizard and I had a crystal ball where it was going to happen, I'd be a billionaire, right? Yes, which I'm pretty sure there's some guys out there that knew this was going to happen, which I'm almost certain they knew this was going to happen, and they betted against the market and they probably made a couple $1 billion, but I'm not that guy. But for me, all I can do is, is I can diversify, which I've always been diversified. I've got a lot of different income streams, and I know that affordable housing is going to probably be the most insulated out of all of it, if you had to ask me. However, is there going to be some disruption? Are we going to probably take some bumps? Of course, that's entrepreneurship. That's real estate investing. But I feel fairly certainly confident that, that the asset class that I'm in, as far as affordable housing, and you said you're in it also, I think we'll be pretty insulated. The one thing I know for a fact that we got going for us is President Trump is pro real estate. I mean, he's a real estate guy himself. He's not going to let all the real estate investors across the country just fall by the wayside. He's going to protect American citizens. Obviously, like you just said, he just posted 2 hours ago that there'll be no evictions for the next, till what you said, April?
The end of April. But I went because the headlines come out, right? So I go and listen, and I haven't listened to the whole interview, so they might have came back around to it later and gave more specifics. But until I see something in writing, I don't know what to expect. But basically he said the HUD will not pursue evictions or foreclosures is what he said. What that means for us, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm thinking we've already gone through, we've did 2 evictions already this week. Other courts had already shut down, so we weren't going to be able to get in there and do this anyways. This was something that was affecting them. I just think the perception to get it into Americans' minds, I don't have to pay rent, is a bad perception to have. You get what I'm saying?
I totally agree, dude. I mean, I think for the lower end class style tenant, it's going to be like, oh, it's a free ride. If I can't get evicted, why should I pay?
That's right. And so we're right now, I mean, literally right before I sent you the link, like we were on a conference call with the owners, and we're like, hey, we're going to craft this email. This is what it's going to say. This is what the president said. This is what it means. Here's it's a delayed timeline. It's not a get out of jail free card. If you're not directly impacted by this, you still need to pay your rent. Here's the reasons why. Here's the different reasons why they go to fight Corona. But anyways, here's the different reasons why you need to still pay if you're not directly affected. You don't want a judgment. You don't want these things. And so we're crafting that email to send out. But until you see something in writing, you don't really know if you're overstepping one line of saying something that isn't going to be true or whatever. So we're crafting the email with, this is what the president said. We haven't seen it in writing yet. Here's what we think it means. Here's how it will affect you. If you are directly impacted by coronavirus, we want you to reach out and let us know. But if you're not, you're still expected to pay rent. That's what our email's going to say. I mean, you just said you're not a wizard. I'm not the English professor in our organization. It'll sound better than that, but essentially we're going to send that out to all 300 tenants probably within the next 2 hours. Whether or not it does any good, we don't know. You know what I mean? But these are definitely uncharted territories. If next month, obviously you operate a business. I had Grant Cardone on for an interview. One of the things that I didn't ask him that I had on my board that I wish I'd have asked him, I wish I'd asked him this right now. We utilize credit lines. We got about $500,000 in credit lines that we utilize. We also keep cash reserves, but cash is cash. It goes, it comes, it's kind of in and out. Our credit lines are what we really rely on when we got air conditioner repairs or deferred maintenance or anything like that we want to do. We'll utilize the credit line, pay it off with cash flow. That's kind of how our business is structured. What's your credit line versus cash reserves look like operating that many units? I mean, have you found a sweet spot?
Absolutely. I've been using lines of credit since I was 25 years old. I've never had a lot of cash because I've always been in real estate. So what I've always done is that all the money we make, we dump it into a property and we just pull a line of credit because it's the best of both worlds. It's like having your cake and eating it too, because I can have my cash in a property where it's creating income at a maximum efficiency rate at the highest return you can possibly get, and I have access to pull it out if I need it. So right now we probably have we have about a $1.1 million line of credit between the 3 or 4 lines of credit we have, and that's how I've always ran my. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you own a business, you will run into cash flow problems. If you think you're gonna start a business and never dry up on cash, dude, I don't know what planet you on, but or whose juice you drinking, it doesn't exist. I don't know one business owner, even people that make hundreds of millions of dollars, they all have lines of credit or access to money, because there's no way around. Like you're gonna stuff like that. Nobody could have predicted this. You have a better shot of getting struck by lightning or getting bitten by jaws going on the beach right here across the street from me than what just happened, right?
Right.
And nobody can predict. If I'd have predicted that, shouldn't. And I just invested a ton of money into a solar business over here in Florida, and shit, we're gonna have to shut it down because we can't even go to people's houses. We can't even you can't predict that stuff. So the only way that you can hedge yourself against market volatility is cash or lines of credit. Now, the downside of having a line of credit is if the bank seizes up, your cash is stuck in that property. That's the only downside. So cash is always going to be king, but lines of credit are queens.
And that's, being in uncharted territory. It's like we're looking at our lines of credit and we're going, will they be here tomorrow? Boeing looked at the same thing. I don't know if you've seen this earlier this week. Boeing looked at the same thing and said, yeah, we got a $13.8 billion line of credit. We'll take it all right now, because they didn't know if it would be there tomorrow. So they took it all. And I was like, and as soon as we saw that, Grant tells you, do what the big guys are doing. We're all looking, we're like, do we draw down our lines of credit right now? Like, is that the move? Then Trump announces this. It's like, well, can we try? Like, can we go? Is it go time? Do we draw them all down? Like, is this it? Is this what we do? But we've got a different strategy. We're on a lot of private money, a lot of friends and families capital tied up in this, a lot of retirement accounts. We've got some really good, people like, you got high interest debt. I'm like, no, we got equity. That's what that's called. You can only pay high interest debt if you have equity. That equity might be eroding right now if rents soften, but that's just life in multifamily investing. I can now go to those friends and family and ask them, hey, I need a 3-month forbearance because we're in choppy waters, and this cash flow that's going to come in, that's how we're going to keep employees working. That's how we're going to keep ACs getting repaired. That's how we're going to keep all this going. If we lose 50% of our tenant pool because they decide not to pay, not because they don't have the ability to pay, we're going to need to navigate those waters for the next couple of months. And we want to do that without having to draw down these credit lines and do these other things. So we started reaching out to them last week. We continue to reach out to them this morning after this announcement. What are some things that you obviously can't predict it, but I mean, have you stress tested your portfolio at the beginning of this? You said you had some short-term rentals.
Yeah. So I can tell you this, I've been through 2 market crashes. 2008, almost got wiped out then. I made it through that. 2014, when we had the oil crisis, oil went from $128 a barrel to $28 a barrel. I almost lost my shirt twice. That was actually worse for me than 2008. I was really leveraged out on single family homes. This is before I knew how to really buy houses cheap. From 2012 to 2014, I loaded up on single family homes, buying nice brick on slab, in a decent area, single family homes at 80 cents on the dollar. This is before I knew how to wholesale. and go to direct to seller and buy it, because once you have a wholesaling business, you get access to the best deals. I mean, you go on direct to seller buying it 50 cents on the dollar from distressed motivated sellers. I didn't know that model yet. So I was just making 20, 30 offers a week on MLS, buying deals at 80 cents on the dollar pre 2014. I bought 32 single family homes. I bought about $3 million worth of single family homes.
Damn.
And when the oil crashed, dude, I got freaking hosed.
Were you in Louisiana?
Yeah, I was in Lafayette, Louisiana, heavily dependent on deep water drilling in Lafayette.
Yep.
So half my tenants were oil field guys, drillers, guys work service hands in oil field. They all went under. They all lost their jobs, couldn't pay me rent. So I that was a huge learning lesson from there. I was able to survive that. I barely survived it, and I was losing 20, 30 grand a month at one time. And I just slowly, band-aided that wound until I started selling off some of those single-family homes and sold off a lot of them. Still got, how many we got, Patty? 3 left to sell, and we got 2 under contract that are about to close. I'm losing like 5 grand on one still, and another breaking even on another one. So it's so important to buy right. Like, it's not like just because you buy real estate doesn't make you a real estate investor. You're only a real estate investor when you know how to buy right? Like, let's be real. So I lost a lot of money on that. I say a lot of money, not a ton, but a good amount of money. And I learned a lot, right? I learned enough to know that I don't want to be in single family homes and nice single family homes. I want to be in affordable housing.
Yep.
Now, with that said, I don't want to freaking be in the ghetto at a F class or H for hell, because there is a class below F, and I bought in there, and it's called hell, and there's not even human beings. There's mutants that live in those types of neighborhoods. And I'm not joking about that. Like, I don't care how good the cap rate is. If it's like a 20% cap rate, it ain't worth getting capped. And I say that with the most experience, and almost getting, well, not me personally, but my property manager almost getting capped. So what I try to do is I try to stay in that that sweet spot, right? That C class, B minus, ain't going nowhere, right? There's the biggest pool of people that are going to rent in that area. Now, are you still gonna have hiccups with people not wanting to pay and have eviction? Yes, that's just the nature of the beast. I don't want to be in the F or even D class. I don't mind being in a D plus if it's in a decent area. I have a park in Lafayette that's probably a D plus, C minus, in an okay area. But at the end of the day, you got to stay in that sweet spot, because I think right now people that leveraged out on high end rentals, like
Grant
apartment complexes, buying at a 5 cap. Huh?
Like Grant?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I love Grant to death, but I don't understand his business model. He's a smarter guy than me, obviously, and me and you, but he obviously knows what he's doing. But I don't understand the concept. So I'd like to see how it plays out with what he bought, because he's buying stuff at a 4 and 5 cap right now, super high end, paying like $150,000 a door for almost brand new construction apartments. So I mean, if we have it to where 30% of the population loses their job right now, and you already bought it at 4 and 5 cap, and you get a 30% vacancy, which, I mean, you negative cash flow.
You're way negative. I was underwriting it. I was I was doing 6 cap underwriting the other day because somebody asked me to, and I'd never underwritten one because I was never going to buy one. So, and then once I realized that every $1 million worth of purchasing power leveraged at 80% at a 1.25 debt service coverage ratio, every $1 million, you put $200,000 down, you got $800,000 worth of debt. That pays you $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. That's at 6% return on your $200,000. And I've got to take $1 million worth of risk. That $75 million purchase pays me $75,000 a month, but there's no room to soften. There's no room for deferred maintenance. As you get further down the line, if that rent doesn't appreciate, if it doesn't go up, you're not building any equity, and it's really, really tough. You know what I mean? And I was looking at it like, I had Grant on the podcast. I interviewed him, and I asked him. He said he's leveraged at 60%, so he's got room there. But
yeah, well, that's Grant's play. I mean, when you have a syndication company like Cardone Capital, where you raise hundreds of millions of dollars and you put in 30% down, you can buy at a premium, because that's his buffer, is his down payment. He's putting 30% down, like. I mean, so it makes sense on that perspective. So,
but it comes from debt.
But it comes from debt. But I mean, when you're not using your own money and it's all syndication money, it's a little bit easier to take a lot more risk. I don't syndicate yet.
Yeah, I don't syndicate yet either. So I'm wondering, like, do you go to like I said, I gave you a 6% return or a 4% return. I don't know how that works. Like, you still gotta provide that return if you can. I don't know what happens. Be interesting to see. And I asked him directly on the podcast, like, you used to be at $1,100 a month rent, pretty safe rent. Now I watched another interview. You're at $1,800 a month. How does this work? You know what I mean? Like, where can you go to? Can you go to $1,500 a month and still be good? Like, because at a 6 cap, that $300 a month means a lot more. That's a bunch of money falling off of equity.
There's no way he's not worried right now. No way.
No way at all.
No, he's questioning himself right now. Like, oh shit, am I over leveraged? Because if half third of America lose their jobs right now, what's going to happen? But at the end of the day, he's a smart guy. He's got non-recourse loans. He's using other people's money. Mm-hmm. He signed off on the loan, but it's all non-recourse. So yeah, he'll lose a bunch of other people's money, but I mean, it ain't gonna take him down.
I don't know. I don't even know. I think right now, end of times, worst of times. You hate to say it, but your lenders are your partners. So we're in this together, bro. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to stay on and manage this? You know what I mean? Or do you want it? And if you want it, I'll give it.
Donald Trump said it best. He says, well, when you're borrowing, a couple $1,000,000, it's your problem. But when you're borrowing billions of dollars, it's the bank's problem.
It's true. This is very true.
What I'm saying? So you made a good point. Like the bank's going to work with you at that point. Guys like us borrowing a couple $1,000,000, they're like, dude, no, we're taking the property back, and we're going to ruin your credit. But if the bank's got $1 billion problem, it becomes their problem, not the lender's problem, or not the signer's problem.
Well, and look, we've got a $900,000 loan that's supposed to close 2 days from now, right? Private money, 2 days. Everything's still saying it's on. We're like, we don't have a time to sign yet. That's pretty weird being 2 days out. You know what I mean? Lender has all the documents. And if that loan goes through, we're gonna, it dominoes. That 900,000 is going into a 32-unit apartment complex. We're going to be remodeling it, bringing it up to terms. We're going to take the money that's on that apartment, that credit line, and we're going to move it over to another 16 unit. So we'll be remodeling 48 units, side by side, right through this headwind. You know what I mean? And that's been the most unnerving part for our business. Is that loan still going to close? Do you have anything on the books right now that when you look at it, you're like, man, I want to go into this. I want to buy. Like, I want to move while others are fearful. Do you have any hesitation in this, like on what the next move is? Are you kind of putting a pause on it and going, okay, I'm going to wait 2 or 3 months and see how it settles? Or are you still moving forward with your business plan?
No, I don't put it on pause. I just changed my strategy, and I'm just not as I'm just not going to flip and wholesale as many houses. It's going to probably be a whole lot more wholesaling, and we'll probably get a lot more aggressive on buying multifamily, because if this stays like it's at for long enough, a lot of people that overbought are gonna be selling and defaulting on properties within the next 6 to 8 months. If we lose at 20 to 30% of our tenants, I think there's gonna be a lot of stuff for sale. I'm still gonna buy. I closed on a condo on the beach yesterday, right? Monday. And that's where I just left from to meet the rehabber. I bought it at 60 cents on the dollar. Am I worried? No. I bought it at 60 cents on the dollar, right? So, how can I lose on that? Even if we have a 20% correction, historically speaking, nationwide, we only typically have a 15% correction if you average it out nationwide in the worst economic collapse that we had in 2008. Some areas worse than others. So if you go direct to seller and you're always buying value add properties, and you're capturing equity for motivated sellers, it's hard to lose, right? So
I agree.
I'm just not going to flip as many properties. And as far as trying to go for the active income versus, I'm gonna be more passive with my investments, and I'm just gonna wholesale everything. And I'm still gonna buy and hold. Right now is actually the best time. There's gonna be more deals out there than ever before in the next probably 6 to 8 months to a year.
That's what I was wondering. Like, you went through the last one, wasn't there a lag from the time that the shit hit the fan until that inventory finally showed up with a discount? Was there? I think we got disconnected. Was there a lag between the time that the shit hit the fan?
You're starting to break up a little.
Was there a lag between the time when the shit hit the fan until the inventory showed up at a discount, until people started selling at a real discount? Was it like a year lag time? Because I see people, and I don't think they mean it. They've been saying that they've been waiting for this, so it'd be the world's best buying opportunity. But I don't think today is world's best buying opportunity. I think it's 6 months from now or a year from now, is at least in real estate. I don't know about stocks. I'm not a stock guy.
Yeah. It took about 6 to 8 months before you really start seeing an impact. It ain't gonna happen overnight. I mean, and with Trump's new announcement, it may even take longer. But yeah, there's a lag time. There's a communication lag from the time that they stop paying. I mean, it usually takes 6 to 8 months before a property goes into foreclosure anyway. It's going to take a while. And honestly, dude, you know what? I'm not that worried because, America, holds the federal, we obviously have the Federal Reserve over here in America that owns, we're the world reserve currency. The dollar is the world reserve currency. So therefore we can print money. Nobody else can do that. So we're just going to print money. I mean, and he's going to make all our problems go away. So it's like, which do I agree with? I mean, I don't know if I agree with it or not. I mean, it devalues the dollar, but at the same time, it makes asset prices go up and makes everybody's problems go away. So, but I don't know how long America can do this for. Like, you can't keep on robbing Peter to pay Paul. You can't keep on printing money for nothing and without no consequences. Eventually something crazy is going to happen in America. We're gonna have a nuclear financial bomb go off where we just can't print any more money because nobody even accepts it anymore because it's funny money, right? It's not backed by anything. It's backed by debt. It has no real value. Like we went off the gold backed currency, and Nixon took us off the gold backed currency in 1971. So from there, it turned into fake money. So I don't know. I mean, how long can they keep on printing money to make all our problems go away?
Well, there's a book called Accidental Superpower. And the guy that wrote it is a great keynote speaker. And he touches on all of this. It's pretty amazing. It'll blow your mind. It really helped me understand what the next 5 years look like because, a lot of people don't even know where the money is. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know why it's showing up as it is. But there's some very interesting dynamics about printing money, about the boomers and what they mean to us as a generation right now, the aging demography of other countries, and how blessed we are to be Americans. And it touches into what you just said about having the Federal Reserve, but also, we've got a really good demography from, we don't have a bunch of 60-year-olds that got to work to their 80 to maintain a workforce. We can bring in 20-year-olds when we need 20-year-olds through immigration and everything else to supplement a lag in birth rate, because a lot of other countries, Japan, China, a lot of these hubs for the supply chain, the workforce is aging and they don't have the younger demographic to take their place.
I mean, I wouldn't pick anywhere else to live in America. Germany has the worst demographics behind Japan. You got 70-year-olds working at McDonald's. That's right. Yeah. Because they don't have they're not immigration. They don't have immigration. Like, everybody wants to move to America. So, like, you guys are so blessed that are watching this live in America. Like, we have the work pool is being replaced by fresh people from all over the world that want to come into this country because we're about to go off a demographic cliff. There's 10,000 baby boomers that are retiring every single day in America, every day. And to be honest with you, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security is bankrupt to a certain degree, to the degree that we have immigration. That's why they keep letting all these people in, which is there's a good and a bad to that. The more people we let come in immigration wise, it replenishes the work force, and we can tax them to pay for all the retirees that are about to hit, that are about to start pulling from Social Security. Right. So it's a good thing. It's a bad thing. Who knows? I don't know. If I had a crystal ball, I'd probably be a billionaire, but it's very interesting times we live in. If you guys really want to know what's going on with the banking system, I would pick up the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island.
Okay.
Written by Robert Griffin. But anyway, he talks about the Federal Reserve, how they were started, how they manipulate the economy, and how they control the economy. And at the end of the day, guys, like, all this stuff that's going on with the economy, and dude, it's all manipulation. all this Corona stuff. Like you probably listen to me saying, "Oh, here he goes. He sounds like a fucking
No, it
conspiracy
don't matter.
theorist." Hey,
That's
it's
what we're
not
here for.
conspiracy. Going on with the Corona is a big fat deception to take you off the attention of what's really going on behind the scenes. I guarantee there's all kind of crazy shit going on right now that we don't even know about.
Well,
There's no way that this Corona shit has anything to do with Corona. There's more people that die of diabetes, more people die of heart failure, cancer. Like that's the real pandemic. Heart disease. Come on, more people died of flu last year.
well, I don't look at it enough to know. You know, we're so right here in our business that, you know, we look at what matters to us and whatever. When this looked like it was going to come stateside and everybody wasn't, you know, prepared for it, I quit traveling. I do little masterminds every weekend. I quit doing all that, but you know, then now we're here to where evictions. I got a note handed to me while we've been on here. Evictions may only be about homeowners with HUD or Fannie or Freddie, not tenants. HUD to clarify. So that's good news.
That's great news.
Some of this stuff, you know, I mean, when we dive into it, you know, there's always a bigger picture. People make money on both sides. No matter which way the stock market's going, people are making money, and they're probably smarter than you and me. I don't want to give them that much credit. I just want to say that they're focused on that.
Well, they're more crooked than us too.
That's exactly right. But we're in affordable housing. I'm not betting for anybody's business to fail. You're in short-term rentals. I see other people that are upset at people with short-term rentals that are like, oh man, I told you that business was going to bust and stuff like that. Me, I reached out to my friend that is only in short-term rentals and I said, hey, send me, if you got cancellations, send me a link right now and I'll book for a week and I'll come sleep on your couch when all this shit passes. You can still have it booked up. I just want to learn more about short-term rentals. That's how I'm approaching people that are struggling, that are in my immediate circle that I want to help out. I feel like just like you, we're in a safe asset class. Different business model than what you got. You've probably never bought an apartment complex in a town with 4,000 people, and people look at us and they're like, "You're crazy." And I'm like, "Bro, I bought it for $17 a square foot. You can't build it for $100 a square foot. Come at me. Where can I stress test this to where the numbers don't make sense? You know what I mean? Hot water heaters are still expensive to replace, but I can make money at $400 a month rent. You know what I mean? Like, what planet can you not afford $400 a month rent with central AC, you know, water? Like, I can go all bills paid for $650 and make a pile of cash. Like, y'all can't do this. You can't fuck with me. So what are some things that you would give people advice on if they're maybe looking at their business model right now? They're in $300,000 flips or something like that, and they're going, yeah, I might have shit the bed on this one. What advice would you give them?
My advice to them would be, I mean, from experience, just because I used to be that idiot real estate investor that wanted to get in real estate because I read, you know, Rich Dad Poor Dad and thought just because you buy real estate makes you an investor. No, you only a real estate investor if you're buying with value add, meaning like you're buying super discounted. So like you just said, like you bought for you said $17 a square foot. Like it's hard to lose at that amount. I mean, could you still lose? I mean, yeah, you could always lose. But when you buy cheap enough, it's hard to lose because if you buy so cheap that if you're not making money, you can still flip it and get out of it. Or if there's another guy that'll pay a lot more than $17 a square foot. I know so that's how I insulate myself. I'm always going to have a direct to seller marketing business where I'm always sending out direct mail. I'm always text blasting, Facebook ads, where I can find heavily distressed, motivated sellers that'll let me basically, let's call it what it is. It's legalized theft. That's all wholesaling is. It's legalized theft.
He said it. I didn't. Look, people have been all week like blah 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 blah. Think about your sellers. I'm like, y'all weren't thinking about your sellers in a buyer's market.
Well, you go buy their house, and that's what I tell them. Why don't you go buy their house? And if you're so worried about it, go pay full retail for the house and see how that works out for you.
2 months ago, y'all were bragging about making $100,000 on these people on their equity. Now all of a sudden we got to think about the sellers. No, there's blood in the street. I'm going to talk to them. Hey, the shit has hit the fan. I can only pay this. Yeah. Like,
well, this is how you handle that, man. When people give you shit about being a real estate investor, just say, hey, man, you ever traded in your car before? And they're like, well, yeah, of course. I traded my car every 4 years. I said, didn't you take a loss on it? Or, you know, you could have sold it for more if you'd have put it for sale by owner, right? Well, of course, yeah, but I don't want the headache. I'd rather just trade in. Okay, so what's the difference than what I do as a real estate investor? I'm the dealership for people that want to trade in their houses fast cash, don't want to list it. There's no difference,
Well,
right? But when you tell me, oh, well, that's not the same, Chris. Well, no, it's exactly the
no,
same. I'm just using a different product. I don't use cars. I use houses. People trade in their houses to me at a discount, and I'll make their problem go away, but there's a trade out in equity. I lost $10,000 on a car I traded in last year. Why? I could have sold it and probably broke even. I only lost $2,000. Time, convenience, and speed, right? That's what these people are paying for. So don't let anybody fool you. As a real estate investor, you provide a service. It's a viable service. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all consent. I've never bought a property from somebody that didn't totally agree with what I was doing, and they were happy to sell me their property at pennies on the dollar because I made their problem go away.
That's the most ethical thing you can do, is close on it. You know what I mean? Like our title company reached out to us, said they've had 30 people pull out of deals in the last however many days, 30 cash purchases. Just leave people high and dry, say, hey, I'm not doing this. The economy has shifted. We're not backing out of anything that we have. We have it under contract. We underwrote it as a rental from the day we bought it. We want to sell it as a hotel, but if it doesn't hotel, we'll put a tenant in there and we'll ride it out. You know what I mean? We're still leasing stuff every day, right? I mean, we leased 2 yesterday. You know, I mean, we're still leasing inventory. Business has not changed in that perspective. You get in here in the computer and you're like, oh man, life's ending. You get out there and start talking to prospective tenants and everything. They still got money for a deposit. They still got first and last month's rent. They still got their little, pet deposit. They're still bringing old foo-foo with them. You know what I mean? And life's moving on. So that's really, really that gold nugget. I wish I could throw a gold nugget on the screen. That car analogy right there is absolute gold. Chris, where can people find you? People that want to buy into your coaching. You've been doing this since you're 25, you're 39. I roast gurus all the time. I'm getting sued by a guru right now for roasting them. I love people that can teach ethical way to do business, that have the experience, that have the HUDs on the wall to back it up. Where can people find you if they want to get mentored from you, or they want in your coaching program, or they want to learn more about Chris Rood? Where's the place they can go to do that?
Yeah, so they can go to chrisrood.com and book a call with my team, see if they're interested in doing this. They can follow me at Chris Rood Entrepreneur on Facebook. I do a couple Facebooks lives a week, just kind of like you. I watch you. You always go on live. I love that you give content and give back to the community. They can follow me at Real Estate Rood on Instagram. I do tons of stories. I'm always sharing. It's not just real estate. I share entrepreneur stories. I'm an entrepreneur at the end of the day. I've started probably a couple dozen businesses. A lot of them have failed, but that's life, right? That's the name of the game. But it's funny you just said that you called out a couple of gurus, and I'm huge on that, guys. You got to be careful who you follow, right? Like if a guru acts like he's always winning, there's nothing wrong, dude. I probably lost $100,000 this month, right? So I started a business in the middle of all this shit happening, and I'm probably gonna lose $100,000. Like, if people are acting like life is perfect, nothing's wrong, everything they do is just turns to gold, they're full of shit, right? Entrepreneurship is fucking hard. You're gonna lose money, you're gonna lose time. It's just a numbers game. Like, most people that that are really truly successful, they probably started a dozen businesses, and 8 of them are failed, 2 of them broke even, and then they hit 2 home runs. That's the fail rate of entrepreneurship. That's why this shit ain't for everybody. So understand that, like, there's a lot of gurus out there. I'm not a guru. Like, I'm a guru. I do shit. Like, I've started businesses. It's and I started a lot of businesses that failed. So that's really good advice that Corey just said, that he called. Which guru? Can you tell me which guru is suing?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's
or is that gonna get you in some hot sauce?
Dude, they modify the suit every time they think I talk about them. This is how stupid they are. I'm going to go ahead and say it because I don't give a shit. I hope his attorney finds it. I need the watch minutes on YouTube. Here's how dumb they are. They try to back themselves in the corner that every time I say the word guru, I'm talking about them. It's insanity. Like, I've been talking about the guru since 2017, when little old people that are 75 years old go to some wholesaler's course, and then they're out here trying to fucking scrap. You know what I mean? I'm like, how much money you got? Like, what'd you pay for that? Oh, I paid $40,000. I'm like, how much money you got? They're like, I had $40,000. I'm like, that is the most unethical thing I could ever see to do to 2 70-year-old people. You know what I mean? What did they tell you to do? Oh, they told me to remortgage my house and go buy that. I'm like, what in the fuck? You had a paid for house and 40 grand and you paid it to a guru to learn how to wholesale. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity, which is why we started Roughneck Real Estate, which is why we started putting the information out there. Because while wholesaling there's a massive amount of money that can be earned if you know how to do it. And there is a skill set you need to learn. You should never take somebody's only fucking nest egg to teach them how to do anything in life.
Absolutely. 100%. I always tell anybody that wants to hire me, anybody, and I tell them, if you don't hire me, make sure, like, do not, all this bullshit of burn the bridges, put it all on a credit card, just make it go right. That's all bullshit. No, listen, if you can't afford it, if all you got if all you have is $5,000 in your checking account and you're about to give a guru $5,000 for coaching, you should not do that.
No, that's
that's stupid. You should, and you should maybe buy a course of $500 or $1,000. Yes. Like, you should only invest with what you can be willing to lose. And if you only got 5,000, you should not be investing 5,000. Right. So don't fall into the guru trap. And most of those guys that are teaching you how to do real estate and that are pure gurus, their whole business model is coaching. My biggest business model is real estate investing. I do coaching on the side. Right. So there's a difference, right? Make sure that you hire a real estate investor, not a real estate coach. I was a real estate entrepreneur and an entrepreneur for 12, 15 years before I even got into coaching. Like, I'm seasoned. I've been through the trials and tribulations. I've almost went bankrupt 2 to 3 times. I've got experience. I'm well seasoned. These guys that went through a course, they did 2 deals. And like, oh, I'm going to sell a course online because I see Joe Blow doing it. And I see how much money he's making. Those guys are going to give you bullshit information. They're going to sell you a bill of goods. They're taking pictures in front of Ferraris and Lamborghinis that they rented. It's fucking jokes, man. Like,
it is.
Be careful.
Oh, and I spoke on it. And when I spoke on it, I mean, there's no reason to really talk, but you just laid it out. Now, I've said it. I've been preaching it. I've been in this business 5 years. I busted out in that oil field bust that almost took you out. It took me out of the oil field, and that I landed into flipping houses. Wasn't a very good house flipper. Not really a wholesaler by trade. Ended up being a property management company by default because we weren't worth the fuck as flippers. So we had to rent our shit out. So this whole thing that I see going on, I'm like, man, you can make money in this business, but there's negotiation skill sets you got to have. There's a lot of things that came naturally to me because I can talk to people that other people don't have. And if you don't recognize that, you've got to work on those skill set first. You can get a $50 Grant Cardone course that can teach you how to negotiate better, teach you some sales stuff. That's where I started. I'm sure you consume Grant's content, all the way back when. You probably knew about Grant when Grant was, not doing anything. Didn't even have a Facebook. You know what I mean? But that's where you cut your teeth at. So a guy like Chris that's been through 2 crashes, and we'll sit here and tell you openly online, I just lost $100 grand investing at the wrong time in the market. That's a guy that you need to pay money to if you want to learn. You want to learn from people who've been through some shit, not people that are just painting pictures of roses and turnips. Because I guarantee you they're shitting themselves over the last 2 weeks. That's one of the reasons I started reaching out to people. It's like, we're quarantined. Our office isn't working. Normally it's busy in here. Can't really talk. Can't do stuff like this. But I was like, I'm going to put content out. As soon as we get off, I'm going live with 5 guys that are in this business. And talk. They're all different assets, all different facets in different areas of the country. And we're talking about the fires we've been putting out over the last 2 weeks.
You guys should be talking about all the problems that we're going, not all the great things that are going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's going to be massive amount of problems that you could probably help your listeners navigate through, that other maybe guys that have been in the game long that can help give some advice on, like, how to handle this or how to handle that, how to handle all these evictions you may be having, or how to handle deal flow, because you're not gonna be, if you're a pure flipper right now and you don't even know how to wholesale, like, you're probably in a bind, right? You probably need to learn how to wholesale. There's gonna, maybe you just bought your first apartment complex and you've never even had to evict anybody. You just closed on one. Like, there's gonna be massive amount of learning curves. But guys, look, at the end of the day, it's an adventure. It's exciting. It's gonna be painful. There's nothing if things are always good, it wouldn't be called living life, right?
That's right.
You're truly living when things are bad because you feel it, right? It helps you live life like this. I'm actually like at the back. Yeah, I probably just lost $100 grand, But it's like in the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, it's like I've been here, done that. Like it doesn't hurt as much as it used to as it did in my early 20s. Because at the end of the day, I know I'm alive. I feel like we're alive and we're freaking living life while most people on the sideline watching everybody else live. Like I'm in the game. Put me in, coach. Right?
Yeah.
So get in the game and play some of the game. Don't stay on the sideline, and that's how you're gonna learn the most is by playing.
Well, that's what somebody called me the other day and said I'm in a tough position, and my response was they can't all be doggy style. You know, I was like, we're what?
Yep.
I mean, sounds like you're about to learn, and it doesn't. Your exposure doesn't look like that bad. I mean, you're about to lose $12,000. I mean, it's not that big a deal. I mean, it might feel like a big deal, but that $12,000 will come back tenfold. You're fine.
That's right. And that's switch your mindset over to I never lose, I only learn, and that'll help you get through all these tough times.
Dude, it's tuition,
right?
And you know, some of our tuition will be a lot higher. To me, it's like everybody that was hoping or wishing or want, I'm like, well, it's here now. And y'all have all gone quiet on the internet. I've been talking shit the whole time. I'm out here. I'm fighting. Well, we lost Chris, guys. I'm gonna call him back, but I hope y'all got a lot out of that. Chris accidentally, his phone must have died or something. So I'm gonna jump off of here. We'll be back in 40 something minutes with 5 of us on the stream talking about what we're doing. We'll see y'all then.